On behalf of Terryglass Improvement Association, I'd like to welcome you all here this morning for the unveiling of these plaques, which the text tells us the story of these 7 oak trees. Earlier this year we were notified by the Tidy Towns unit of the Department of Environment that every village, town or city that had ever won a national title since the beginning of the Tidy Towns competition would be gifted 7 oak trees. And 7 oak trees take up a bit of space, and the only place in the village where these 7 oak trees could be planted together is where they are today, here in the parish field. We're very grateful to Father Cooney and the Pastoral Council for allowing us to plant them here. These trees could have a life of between 200 and 500 years. So in our lifetime they'll still only be saplings anyway. This programme for the 7 trees, for 7 signatories, as I said, was introduced by the Department of Environment, also with the Department of Heritage and the Gaeltacht, Tree Council of Ireland, and the County Council involved in each particular area, which in our case, Tipperary County Council. And I'm delighted to have with us here today Councillor Gerard Darcy, Cathaoirleach of the Nina Municipal District, and Rosemary Joyce of Tipperary County Council. Thank you very much. County Council are providing the funding for these plaques that will be unveiled in a little while, and for that we're very grateful to them. And also they've been more than helpful with us on a lot of projects down through the years, and long may that relationship continue. Since I would also just where we're at council, to say thanks to Anne-Marie Clifford as well, who could not be with us here today, but she was one of the ones who we did a lot of toing and froing with while this was going on. We can't have a tree planting ceremony today, needless to say, because the trees had to be planted immediately they came. But just to mark each tree individually today, we're going to get help from the pupils of Terryglass National School. And what's going to happen is that we'll just each individual class, representatives from each individual class, will go to each individual tree, hang a little picture of that signatory on the tree, and one other member will just pop a little national flag into here. And if there are more pupils than that, then the others can just scatter a few little rose petals at the base of the tree. So I have to get out the page for this now. I'd like to call on No, we're off. Representing their school and junior infants, Niamh Malloy and Dennis Slevin. And representing the senior infants, Michael Gorman, Jessica Linan, Jack Tierney, Maeve Quinn, Ben Kennedy, Ali Mulvehel, Casey Doyle, Avian Purcell, Anya Cahalan, Faye Quinlan and Kate Coonan. And the representatives from that class will be carrying the picture of Thomas Clark and the flag up and laying it at the very first tree, which they're about to do right now. Thank you very much. Representing first class, Emily Stapleton, Isaac O'Sullivan and John Coonan will carry the picture of Sean McDermott and a flag and to the second tree. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Representing second class, Cleona Brannigan, Oisin Hardy, Clodagh Cahallan, Michael Purcell, Richard Deasy and Morgan Deasy. Well done. Thank you very much indeed. Representing third class in their school, Aoife Malloy, Luke O'Sullivan, Ashton Brandt. Representing fourth class, Owen Quinlan, Matthew Hardy, Keelan Ducey, Conor Mahan, Aidan Kirwan, Havian Kirwan, Maeve Cahallan and Michael Fogarty. Oh, sorry, I should have said, and they carried the picture of Eamon Kent. And the third class was Corey Clear. Sorry about that. Fifth class will carry the picture of James Connolly and a flag. Representing fifth class, Ciara Malloy, Mia Brandt, Nika Curran, Louisa Deasy, Hannah Deasy, Mary Israti, Elise Schaumburg and Ella Quinlan. Well done. Thank you very much indeed. And sixth class will carry the picture of Joseph Plunkett, and representing sixth class, Emer Fogarty, Gillian Craig, Conor Forby, Leanne Mahan, Bisando Munasenge and Michael Hoff. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Delighted to have the children of Terryglass School participating today, and I think we can, well, we have to give you this a big round of applause for the musicians and for the It's great to have the young people involved. Delighted to have them here today, because when the people of my ilk take up a permanent post at the other side of this field, these children will be walking by and they'll be telling their children what happened and the story of the 7 oak trees. So, Mila Wiggis, and I think another round of applause for the pupils of Terryglass. I would like to at this stage, because I said the County Council has been so much involved, I would ask Rosemary Joyce from Tipperary County Council to, at this stage, please unveil the plaques for us. Thank you very much indeed. The stone plaques were made for us by Morgan Murray Stoneworks in Beechwood. They have an English version on the one side and the Gaeilge version on the other side. The trees are sessile oak in English, and in Irish they're Dar Gaelach. For anyone that likes the bit of Latin, they're Quercus Petrea. So we're very grateful, I say, for the County Council for the funding for this particular project. And at this stage, I'd like to ask Rosemary if she'd like to say a few words.
Go good Joe. I Cohelach, a Colori, a Green Ushla. Tá an áthas ar bheithan seo live in you, an ócáid speisialta starúil seo. I'm really delighted to be here with you here today on this very, very special occasion. We are today making a new chapter of history as we commemorate the past and look forward to the future. On an occasion like this, it's wonderful to see so many here, so many of all generations, young and old, remembering the past and looking forward to the future. And when you think about it, the men who died in 1916, these were people who represented so many different strands of society. There were those who represented the workers, there were the educators, there were the poets. They were ordinary people with families, like people we have here today. But today's people are called on to meet a new challenge, a new breed of Irish volunteer, to work with the communities that we have across the country and that do such splendid work, to take over the mantle that is currently worn by groups like the Terryglass Improvements Association, like the Historical Society, and like so many other voluntary groups across the county and across the country that do such splendid work. And I hope that in 50 years' time, that people will come back here and that the young people that are here today will be carrying on the tradition, will be continuing the excellent work that carries out. And I hope that Tipperary County Council will still be trying to assist in those efforts. Occasions like this are all about communities doing things for themselves, and that's something that's not in short stead here in places like Terryglass. The work that's done by the community groups around here can be seen by all, and it's something that you should be extremely proud of. It's something that we welcome, and we are delighted to have the opportunity to provide the small bit of funding that we can, and we will continue to do that. But we need the people, and the people of Ireland, the people of communities, the people of Terryglass. Gurv Míle Maithagurv.
Thank you very much indeed. At this stage, I'd like to ask Father Michael is he here somewhere? Come up. No, I just asked Father Michael to bless the ground which these trees were sown.
We ask the Lord to bless this ground and bless the trees. I hope that they'll continue to grow and they'll shelter us, as Joe said, at this side and that side eventually. And that the Lord would keep everyone that's here today safe, and that they may be able to live in freedom and in love for one another. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father Michael. That brings us almost to the end of our little ceremony. Before we just give the last few thanks, I'd just like to remind you that also today the Terryglass Historical Society have a wreath laying ceremony, which happens at the oak tree where the flag is just down here. And across from that is a seat that was built by Terryglass Improvements Association. We didn't know until earlier this year that we were going to get the 7 oaks, and our little project for the centenary of the 1916 Rising was to build this little seat that overlooks Lough Derg on the Littlewood Trail, and that was opened on the 17th of March. But as I said, across from that is the oak tree that was a memorial tree that was planted last year by the Historical Society, and it's there that we move on to in a minute now for the laying of the wreath. But before we do that, I'd just like to thank everybody involved today. Tipperary County Council, the Pastoral Council. I'd like to thank Marguerite and her workers on the CE scheme for their help, especially to the pupils of Terryglass National School, to members of our own group, Terryglass Improvement Association, and to the singers and musicians who helped us out here today. And thank you all very much for coming. And don't forget that after the tree laying ceremony, you're all...
What a beautiful ceremony we just had, and as Joe said, it's so beautiful to see the children here with us today. And we thank everyone for joining us.
Céad bliain ó shin ar na sráid na maileach lia dearg gnáthfíreachs mná le fís chruchachs brodúil our star. The 1916 Rising, it did change the course of our history. The events that followed changed the way the people thought.
Trying to compose something for today, we thought what better than the paragraph of the proclamation that describes the hopes, the dreams and the visions of those of 1916 Ireland, as read by Pádraig Pearse 100 years ago today, and signed by the 7 men who whom we have just remembered with the planting of the 7 oaks. I have no doubt that the hope and the vision of 1916, as declared in the proclamation, continues within all of us gathered here. That hope and vision is what we still wish for ourselves and for the future generations. And that for Ireland.
That the Irish Republic is entitled to and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irishman and every Irish woman.
And for the citizens of our country.
That the Irish Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens.
And for the nation.
That the Irish Republic declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation.
But most of all, for the hope and the vision that we still wish for the children.
That the Irish Republic and its entire people cherish all the children of the nation equally and strive to keep them safe, so that they will only know peace.
As we lay the wreath, we remember all those who died in 1916 Rising, and we remember the events of that time that changed the course of our history. We will place the wreath beside the tree of remembrance in their memory, and we also remember all of those who have gone before us and who have in their own small way helped to make our country what it is and helped to make all of us who we are. I now call on Mary to present the wreath to Frank, who will lay it at the tree of remembrance. We will now have a minute's silence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.